excited to be bringing on two special guest hosts here today to be able to talk some NHL hockey. I'm here with Tony Cordasco and Chris Golick from the VGK Host Podcast to talk here some NHL hockey. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing today? And thank you guys so much for coming on.
Besides our Golden Knights doing terrible right now, I'm fine. I'm not happy about that though.
Yeah.
What's the score right now?
We're losing 3-1 to the Flames right now. This isn't good. This is not good.
Ooh.
Yeah, and Calgary's starting to play. We call them Calgary. We don't call them Calgary. Calgary's starting to play very well. I think they're starting to feel that rhythm. Jonathan Huberdeau got a goal tonight. First goal, I think, in 10 games.
Of course.
So that was a big thing because I said he was going to score tonight, of course, on our podcast.
Okay, nice, man. But hey, I'm really excited to get some hockey, guys, to get some hockey talk going.
Okay, you might want to just talk to Chris then.
That's a nice pad back there, a nice piano. You got some nice digs back there.
Thanks, man. Thanks. There's so many people who think that, as you can tell, a little backdrop, but I'll just pretend this is my house just to.
Oh, it's a backdrop? Oh, man.
Yeah.
It looks good, though. It looks good. Good job. You got to make it.
One of these days, I'll have a house like this. That's why we're doing this show, right? Maybe I'll hit the lottery.
Let's go. I'm in.
Yeah. No doubt. And again, we're proud to be in coordination with the ASAP Sports Network. Got to give a shout out to those guys. Jay Ness, shout out. What's good? So tonight we're going to be discussing your Las Vegas Knights, discussing my Boston Bruins, who have been rather surprising. Here we are towards the tail end of the season, and they're still kicking ass. And we still have the East-West favorites, and then also just thoughts on the overall NHL trade deadline. So, guys, it wouldn't be a show if we didn't talk about your Las Vegas Knights first. First, I got to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on the Shea Weber and you guys made a trade, trading Shea Weber and a draft pick to the Coyotes for Dyson Mayo. Weber, who's 37, hasn't played since 2021. Mayo's 26, currently has 0 points in 15 games this season, only averaging, I think, 11 minutes and 42 seconds in ice time. Guys, talk to me. What do you guys think of that trade? Does it do anything? Just high level.
So, in short, the VGK acquired Shea Weber in the deal to get rid of Evgeny Dadonov, which was a failed trade that the Golden Knights and Anaheim Ducks tried to work out last year. Unfortunately, there's no trade clause that VGK didn't get the memo about. So in order to get rid of Dadonov, we had to trade for Shea Weber, his contract, if you will, in this previous offseason. Fast forward to present time, now we just traded Shea Weber's contract for Dyson Mayo. Plus, we gave up a fifth-round draft pick or something like that. So the deal itself does two things for Vegas. It gives VGK a little bit of depth for our AHL franchise, which is lacking some defensive help right now. It also sets up a possible future trade because now we have a little more defensive depth if we trade someone like Keegan Korczak from the Henderson Silver Knights, who is a very highly touted prospect. Plus, this also opens up the opportunity for VGK to have additional contracts for the following year. There's a lot of weird things. I don't know them exactly, but when you have basically retired players on your payroll, it shortens up your ability to do some other things in the next season. So now we have the ability to hold on to a player or two for a longer period of time. And who knows, maybe we'll get lightning in a bottle with Dyson Mayo. I don't anticipate that just because he's been buried with the Tucson Roadrunners, or the affiliate, if you will, of the Coyotes. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Went to a game there this past season. That's a beautiful stadium, by the way. We love it. We love it down there.
Good time. Shout out to Phoenix.
Yeah, shout out to Phoenix. And then also for VGK, it gives them, they maintain their $8.8 million under the salary cap, right?
8.75 right now because we have Hutchinson on the payroll.
Yeah, let's just round it out. Okay, 8.8. And what are you drinking tonight?
Bourbon.
All right. Cheers to that. Bullet bourbon? Cheers. What type of bourbon?
I don't know. It's some with a VGK logo on it.
Okay. Cheers to that.
It's got some potency. I just poured it a second ago. So about a half hour from now, it's going to get ugly.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't go too long, man.
What, Tony, as you were saying though?
No, I was just saying they maintain some cap space so they can go out and they could sign a rental like a Patrick Kane if they'd like to, or a number of players because now they have the money because they're making up for the absence of Mark Stone. Mark Stone has missed now 14 games after he had some back surgery. And so they've been trying to fill in his spot there on the roster. He's so valuable in all the things that he does. Plus, he's the captain and the team leader, and they're definitely missing him. And so they have to do something. They can't just stand pat, because this was a team where the players were saying, well, we're going to force management to make moves because we're going to play so well after the All-Star break. Well, they started out very well, won the first 5, then lost the shootout the other night to the Chicago Blackhawks, and now they're losing as we speak to Calgary. So make those moves. Don't wait. And no one else in the Pacific Division is making a move. It's so surprising. It's so surprising. And there's no big free agents that anyone has signed, because if there were, and now there's fewer free agents, right, guys, too.
Yeah.
And so as soon as they're
dropping right now. They're dropping.
Yeah, they signed one big one, and then the domino effect starts to happen. So it's interesting, man. The Pacific Division's not very strong, as you know, and it's just going to be anyone's game. And if Calgary can win tonight, they're only 6 points behind the VGK, and they're back into it. When people say that team no way is going to be in the playoffs, well, look at this. Look at here.
I mean, like when I'm a GM, I kind of look at, they usually typically have like several options, right? They can do nothing, hope for the best. They can spend within budget and only within budget, or they can spring in extra pieces in return for salary cap or salary retention, or they could pay for a team to join a fold as an intermediary, or they can just dump a contract via trade, whether it's in the trade in a deadline deal. That's usually going to cause like a cap to like another team entirely, right? So if you're like a GM, there's going to be, like, when you compare it to a lot of other sports, what I typically have studied in my research even prior to this episode is that GMs have a lot of different flexibility versus other sports as far as the type of moves that they can make. So Tony and Chris, I want you to put your GM hats on here real quick. And Chris, you first. If you're the GM of like the VGK, out of respect, great stadium, great arena, by the way. I love their opening. I love that opening thing with the night. I was at that opening game when they played the Seattle Kraken, and it was like those first 2 expansion teams.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, 2 of the last expansion teams playing each other. Of course, I had to go to that. I mean, it was a pretty ticket. It was a little pretty penny. But put your hat on. I just want to ask you guys, do you think that your weakness is more in your offense or your defense? And if so, why? I'm just curious.
Oh, the defense is not a problem whatsoever. It's aging a little bit, but if the question is simply what's better, the offense or the defense is spectacular in my opinion. Alec Martinez, if they're going to maybe trade from their strength, would be the person that you would possibly consider. But no, definitely I think the consensus, and maybe I'll probably jump on Tony's train here a little bit here, is another forward to basically balance the lines out a little bit more. I think our biggest offensive area of opportunity lies with who are we going to put with Jack Eichel, because no one besides Mark Stone has been able to constantly click. Some players have had success with him, but we have not been able to unlock Jack Eichel's full potential because we don't have that elite winger. And even Mark Stone, he's a great winger, but he is not an elite winger, which is why obviously everyone at VGK is salivating over the potential for Patrick Kane. Although it seems like the Rangers might be moments away from announcing that. We'll wait and see what happens. Timo Meier, Tony's going to start, flicking me in the forehead from down there if I keep saying Timo Meier, because he doesn't think that's going to happen. Max Domi is another potential candidate that the VGK could go after. But yeah, long and short of it, need someone on the wing, and even bonus points if it's a player with some type of physicality. Just saw your Bruins actually, or I'm sorry, you said your Bruins, right? Garnet Hathaway, pardon me, which is a player who I thought, Tony, if in some of our off-season contents, I used him as the comparable to Keegan Kolesar when they were trying to structure his deals. So that type of player, the Golden Knights just got a goal from Zach Whitecloud, 3-2, by the way.
Hey, you know what, and Tony, before you go, here's what I'm going to say.
No. All I'm going to say is, if I'm the GM, I'm just going to lie to you anyway. So go ahead.
No, it's crazy, right? Like, you guys don't have a 20-goal scorer, right? There are 65 players currently in the league that have 20 goals, right? Your only 2 players, as you said, Riley Smith and Jack Eichel, 19 and 18.
But don't we have? I think we have the most 10-goal scorers, double-digit scores, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, we have 10, and Seattle has 11, right?
Ooh,
yeah, because you guys have 10 different players with at least 11 goals and 14 players with at least 6 goals.
And Seattle has 11 players with at least 10 goals.
Interesting,
right? So what shows me is what Bruce Cassidy has been good, like he did with the Bruins. Hopefully, maybe he seals the deal if the Bruins don't make it our route for VGK. but the Bruins
like it.
make it. We play you guys. I can't root for you guys.
Hey,
Respect.
I'm okay with that.
Sorry. Hey,
I'm okay
guys,
with
I'm
that.
just saying. I'm just saying, you guys. But to have that type of offensive like output and to still be in the top half and scoring, because like Vegas still ranks in the top half, but over Vegas, Columbus, and as well as Chicago.
Yeah.
Tony, talk
And
to me.
well, I mean, yeah, they do have some balanced scoring, but again, like Eichel was out, missed some games, had a 9-game scoreless streak, I think, so far, in this season. And then now he's starting to get into a groove. What is it, Chris? 3 goals in the last 6 games,
Yeah.
or
He
4
just got a
goals?
power play goal tonight, so however that computes too.
So that's 4 out of 6. Yeah. So four goals in the last 6 games. And I think he's now tied with Smith, with Riley Smith, with Jonathan Marchessault for most goals. That's what it is. Yeah. So in any event, like the one thing again, top 6 is okay, but again, without Stone, we can't see their complete potential. And the one area where they're really missing Stone is on the power play, and that Eichel goal that Chris just mentioned. That was the first power play goal that they've had in 26 tries. So they were 0 for 25, which is very Pete DeBoer-like, going back to the way it was last season.
What was Cassidy last year, Tony? You know this number. What was Cassidy last year? He had a bad run. What was it?
Oh,
for
man. What? For what was it? I can't
remember. It was
remember.
in the 40s, wasn't it?
It was like, I think it was something 0 for 40 something.
You love to bring that up, so I said fair to remind you.
I know, and I can't think of it offhand now. And you put me on the spot. But yeah, but when Cassidy got here, right? They're just saying, okay, it's going to be much better on the power play. Says who? And we're starting to see them struggle again. So no, they have a lot of issues still. No one in the West is good. I mean, I don't think it's very good.
I mean,
and the Pacific is so wide open.
It is, but I think that you guys in your power play percentage has got to improve. You guys are 18th in power play percentage.
That's crazy, right?
But
maybe you dropped like 8 spots.
But the thing is, though, is that you guys are so versatile because, he switched the lineup before the break, right? And you guys scored 26 goals in 6 games with 13 different players.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Like that is something that I think is very, very, very rare. And I'm still surprised at how well the Bruins are playing, considering just how dynamic and versatile Bruce Cassidy is, and to be able to make most of your talent, right? And I just wonder, how far do you guys really think with that type of versatile play? Because your boy still missed 13 games. I think Jack Eichel missed 13 games this season because of injury,
something like that. It was right around there.
But to still have 18 goals, so it's still pretty impressive. So he can stay healthy.
He's almost a goal a game guy. Yeah. I mean,
does he play
close.
first and second
point a game?
guys?
Point a game.
Jack Eichel was a like 1.02 something points per game pre-injury. Plays a game, sits for whatever it was, but the bigger issue wasn't his time away. It was when he came back. He did not look right at all. So his first game back after the injury, because he skated like right away. I was actually, I have part-time media credentials, so I go down and do the interviews and all that stuff for the games. But I specifically remember that game with Jack Eichel and watching him in the pregame skate. I go and stand right in the corner. I take some, a lot of photos and content right from the corner down there. And every time Jack Eichel did something, he was grimacing in pain. I'm like, why is he out there right now? And fast forward, he misses a bunch of games after that. And then even when he came back, it took him until basically after the All-Star break, after that long break, to look like himself. And now he is coming around, and he needs to take someone with him. Another thing me and Tony point out a lot, not to beat a dead horse here, but Jack Eichel is an elite passer. He creates space for other players. Yeah. There are so many times when Jack will go behind the net, go to the blue line, go behind the net, go to the blue line.
Did you see Cotter tonight? Couldn't handle the puck.
I didn't see it. I was listening. So
point being, on the plate, man, right there in front.
Yeah, he makes these passes that not a lot of players can make. So, that's why, listen, I know Patrick Kane is a gamble, but you can see, I don't know if you can see it back in the corner right there. That's a half Marc-Andre Fleury Golden Knights and Blackhawks jersey. Blackhawks are my former love, being from the Chicagoland area. So, of course, I'm emotionally tied to. What's that?
One of the original 8, correct?
Original 6, OG 6.
One of the original 6.
OG 6.
Okay, hey, respect.
Respect.
Are you from Chicago?
Suburbs, but yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah, I
right.
was out there. I was out there since 2008. I've been out here since for about the last 13, 14 years, whatever that math works out to be. And but yeah, I was one of the few and proud and embarrassed season reservation holders, as Dollar Bill Warts called it in his time before he passed away.
Okay. All right. All right. So Tony, I want to ask you a question. What are your thoughts on the Carlson line?
That's like
Tell me
my
you went on his Twitter and found that.
my least favorite player in the history of the NHL. My least favorite. I mean, there's a guy that scored 4 hot button. That's awesome. Good research.
Yeah.
So the first season, 43 goals. I even have a Carlson jersey. I've never told you that, Chris, from his first season that was gifted to me. And I wore it a couple times like an idiot. And then I was like, okay, he's just like a trash guy, right? Great. Scoring goals.
Trash guys.
They come back and they secure him to long-term contract after arbitration.
2-way player, 200-foot player.
All they say, that's right, 200-foot player. You ask anyone what's so good about this guy, they will answer you 100 times out of 100 times, 200-foot player. But to me, so in the game against Calgary, in the early stages in the first period, he was getting knocked around. For the most part, they don't check him at all. They don't check him because he misses the net all the time. They really don't. And then tonight they started to pounce on him. No one hits the guy. I'm like, hit him, do something. He's just standing around and he gets lost, and that's how he scores his goals. But to me, it's just he's overpaid. That's it.
Okay. All right. Any thoughts, Chris, before I got to ask you about your rookie, Paul Cotter?
I mean, I like Carlson. Detach Carlson's salary, and he's a fine lower level second line center.
$3 million player. What would you pay him?
What you just said, Tony, is very reasonable. Maybe if you give him $4 million as the benefit of the doubt because of what he did.
Not $6 million. It's
no,
ridiculous.
God, no. No, I'm with you.
They tied him down to a long-term contract too.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it'd be like that. So, but gentlemen, I just got to ask, like, something just told me to ask, because I have another buddy of mine who is a big Las Vegas Knights fan, and he wanted me to ask you guys your thoughts on Paul Cotter. Did I say his name correctly?
Yeah, Paul Cotter.
Cotter's great.
Welcome back, Cotter. Remember, welcome back, Cotter. That's what we do every time he scores a goal. It's welcome back, Cotter.
Is that from something, or is that just what Vegas fans do?
That was a TV show. That was a TV show before your time. Before both of your times.
Fair enough. Okay.
Gabe Kaplan, a big poker player.
Yes, Gabe Kaplan. Okay, now you're talking my language. So, no, Paul Cotter, I mean, listen, I watched him for the last season and a half of, I also have season tickets for the Silver Knights, our AHL franchise. So I've watched Cotter a lot there. I think he got the first goal in the new Dollar Loan Center where the Silver Knights play as well. Real fun guy to watch. Excellent breakaway ability, excellent speed, physicality. An underrated physical player because he has the ability to deliver these reverse checks, which is when the defenseman or the forward is trying to lay a hit on you, and he can explode and turn it into a check of his own and just put you on your ass, for lack of a better term. Real gritty, can get to those dirty areas, can maybe be the answer, Tony, when he develops a little more of a scoring touch from close in for that bumper roll on the power play. Real fun to warm ups with the kids. I remember a couple times he was goofy with my kids, just kind of squirting water through the glass and stuff. And he's a man of the people, and also one of the future anchors of the VGK possibly. And
the players just really like to pick on him too. Everything from his attire and wearing that fedora hat that one time.
Did you see the Jack Eichel valet story, Tony? Did you see this?
No.
Okay, this is good. This is good. Unsubstantiated news, but I saw it on Facebook, so it's got to be true. Someone was a VGK fan was outside of City National today, yesterday, sometime recent, which is where the Vegas Golden Knights practice. Paul Cotter's roaming around, and the fan's like, "Hey, what's going on, Paul?" And he's like, "I can't find my car." All the players, they have gated parking where they get their cars washed and stuff, Tony. They have gated parking back there. And the trainer or someone, I guess, started driving around the parking lot. They couldn't find his car. Finally, it gets leaked out that Jack Eichel took his car to the Red Rock Casino Valet, which is right next to where City National is, and just dumped it off in the valet and left it there on him.
How'd he get his keys? From the valet guy, right?
Who knows? From the person washing his car.
And of course, Jonathan Marchessault was telling you that they wanted to dump him in the water at Resorts World.
That's
the
right. Yeah,
party that
he
you
said he was.
covered.
He said Marchessault said Cotter was the chalk to end up in the water that night.
Oh God, man! You
We
know
have
what? I
fun. We
love
have
the
fun. We have
passion.
fun.
I love the passion, and I'm looking at the score right now between Seattle and Boston. It's 3-3. We were up 3-2. Of course,
3-3.
we gave up a goal. Yeah, we just gave up a goal. Well, it was 3-2, and then Tony, as you spoke, then it got tied 3-3. I tell you, Bruins, man. You know, listen.
Hey, what do
I don't
you
want the
think? I got to ask you a quick question. I'm sorry to cut you
Sure
off,
thing.
but what do you think of the outdoor game next year? The
You know,
Stadium
that's gonna
Series.
yeah, you know, the Winter Classic, you know, that's
Yeah.
actually, you know, it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be exciting because you know you got baseball, you know, you got the All-Star game here this year, and then you got the Winter Classic. I mean, I think it's gonna be fun, man. I've always wanted to go. It's always been on my bucket list. I think it's one of the most classic games. I think the last outdoor game that I've ever been to was several years ago when Michigan and Michigan State played at the Big House.
Oh, that would have been
Wow.
awesome.
That
That's a
must
good
That
have
one
was
been
right
fun.
there.
fun.
That's a
Yeah,
good
that
one.
was fun, man. And I'm an Ohio State fan, so that should tell you something. Actually, won the enemy
I once
territory.
But
I once
you're too
repped a
far from the
Michigan's.
action, right? Aren't you? No. Go
I
ahead.
once repped a Michigan State, Michigan University inline hockey game, an intramural game, which was still at the time the highest level of roller hockey. That was even a small venue like that, just getting a little taste of that rivalry that exists. It was
Oh
kind of
yeah,
cool.
of course, of course. You know, but no, it's going to be good. And you know, I did not think that after we lost Bruce Cassidy that we always have been great on offense, right? We've always been able to score 4 or 5, 6 goals. But surprisingly, we've been very good on defense this year. But David Pastrnak, man, I mean, this is a guy who's doing everything for us, man. I mean,
He's about
I
to get
mean, what
paid
else is
too.
it? Yeah, he's leading in assists. He's leading in points. He's leading in goals. I mean, we're first in division with 91 points. We're probably going to win the President's Cup, right? We're averaging almost 4 goals a game. I mean, it's second in the league, but we're still ninth in shot attempts per game. Like Pastrnak, I do think wants to sign, but I still think he wants to see what we're going to do at the trade deadline. But we just didn't make some trades. I saw the trade deadline. We made a trade for two players
Dmitry
from the
Orlov
Capitals for yes,
Garner Hathaway.
and
yes, and we
Hathaway.
gave him a first round pick, third round pick for this year, and then I think a fourth or fifth round pick for
Yeah, you got
for next year.
Minnesota involved in
Got,
that deal
yeah,
too, and there's
Minnesota
a
was
lot of
in.
moving pieces. I don't know the exact stuff, but
Yeah, and you know, I just want to ask you guys because you know you look at it, you look at like Bergeron, right? You look at hopefully I say his name. I always say it wrong. Krejci. They're both 37 and
Krejci, yeah,
36.
that's good. Yeah, you got it. You got it.
I still think that's 37 and 30. I still think that's young, like in human years, but in hockey, that's pretty old. So I mean, the time is now, but we still have a lot of young pieces, man. I mean, Pasternak's 26. I just gotta ask you guys. You guys are more of the hockey experts than me, man. Are you guys believing in the Bruins this year if they win the President's Cup? Because usually the President's Cup is a curse. You think about Tampa Bay several years ago, and they got swept in the first round.
Let me just say
I
one
don't.
thing,
Go
and
ahead.
then
Go ahead.
I'll defer to Chris. But one of our colleagues at Locked On Boston Bruins, he did a terrific interview with Brad Marchand yesterday, which is really good. You could find that at Locked On Bruins, I believe. And in any event, that's the interview that Marchand said, "Hey, we don't care about setting the records or setting any record because a lot of folks, I think, are starting to add some pressure." To get to 133 points, I think, right, is the record there for most points in a season.
Crazy.
Yeah, and so they're like, we don't care about that. But my only question is, when does this team start to throttle down? Because as soon as they, lock up that division, what do? Golden Knights just scored
3-3.
3-3.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow, who just scored the goal?
I don't know. It hasn't updated yet.
Okay, wow, that's interesting. Yeah, so in any event, so they're not worried about any of the records there. Chris?
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm with you on that. I mean, the President's Cup, whatever. I mean, it's cool, fine, but Tony, you make a good point about throttling down, and we talked about this today on our show. The East is an absolute juggernaut. I can make a case in the West for Vegas, Dallas, Edmonton, if they can ever get their goaltending worked out, and of course, Colorado isn't going to go quietly. I don't think anyone else. Seattle's fun, but I don't think they got the enough depth. I don't think this is their time. The Kings, whatever, and we can go on and on and on. But all of the top 8 teams that are going to qualify in the East, I could make a reasonable case for any one of them to win the Stanley Cup. In the same breath, they are going to cannibalize each other very badly. Whoever comes out of the East earned it. And they went through some amazing teams to do so. So when they get to the Stanley Cup final, it's going to be, and it's attrition, it's survival, it's whatever acronym you want to, acronym, adjective, whatever the booze is kicking in.
Just not
whatever you want to throw
not.
in there, whatever you want to throw in there, they're going to be tired. And whoever comes out of the West has an easier role,
Okay. Tony?
No, that's it, man. I was just commenting on his bourbon. That was it. But no, the East is so much better at this stage. But again, it could even out, as Chris was saying. And then we were talking today on our show on Locked On Golden Knights. We were just saying how in the East, again, Boston is going to have to go through the Canes, right? The Hurricanes again, probably, or Toronto. There's so many good teams. I mean,
no, Toronto, stop. Toronto's out in the first round. Tampa's going to be
not this year. I'm
they're
thinking
done.
This could be this year. They might win one game in round
Will
two.
Carrier gets his 16th goal, by the way. Will Carrier.
That's such a shock, man. That guy is like, it's a career year. They'll sign him to $6 million long-term contract. He'll be a Golden Knight through 2032.
Okay. Listen, all I'm going to say about the Bruins is that Pastrnak, they're going to need a little bit more help outside of Pastrnak, right? I mean, the dude's literally doing everything for us. He could arguably score maybe 50, 60 goals. But, I still got to give credit to Sweeney because I still think he's done a really good job of extending the window, right? With like Bergeron and Marchand and Krejci. But you look at like Pavel Zacha, right? He just signed a 14-year, $19 million extension. But I still like some of the other pieces, man. I mean, you still got Brandon Carlo, Charlie Coyle, you still got Jake DeBrusk, right? Like they have
Tomas Nosek, who's hopefully coming back pretty soon for you all. Very versatile player. Former Vegas Golden Knight.
We love that guy. I like his style.
Some speed. They got some speed at defense, and I think that-that's the difference versus, several years ago when we lost to Nashville in Game 7. I was at that game, and that one was pretty brutal at the Garden. That was pretty brutal. But this team is a little bit different. They just need to kind of maybe settle it down a little bit just for the long run. So I just want to ask you guys, like maybe outside of Tampa Bay. Like, do you guys are a believer in Carolina, New Jersey, Toronto? Like, what about
my Rangers? My Rangers, maybe. My Rangers are starting to put the pieces together, and they're now being spoken about as the top rumor now to win the Patrick Kane Stakes. So if they could lock that down, they had a couple of scratches in the game tonight, right?
Kravtsov and Lecision.
And Jake Lecision, who was a former Vegas Golden Knight, but Kravtsov is a player that has to be traded. So there's huge upside with him, but nothing now. And then they can give up those two players, some draft picks, and maybe get a third partner and pull out this deal, which would be phenomenal. I think that could be one of their missing pieces. Their top six would be ridiculous, really.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all the teams you mentioned, New Jersey, I mean, listen, fine, good regular season. Can they extend that once the postseason starts? We'll see. But Tampa will be heard from in the Eastern Conference playoffs. I know you said you're not a Tampa fan. I just saw them this past Saturday. That is my favorite team in hockey to watch. I'm not going to lie. The way they move the puck, the things they do, the creativity that team possesses in 2-on-2s, 2-on-1s, just the tip pass, everything that team does. They are, in my opinion, are the gold standard of hockey, at least for about the last half decade or so.
And they won back-to-back championships, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Back-to-back, plus to the cup before that, President's Trophy right before that, where it all fell apart against Columbus in the first round. So there's a lot of different things to look at with Tampa. But as far as the other teams, I mean, even if Washington, I mentioned them earlier, but Tony told me, they're kind of slipping. Even Washington slips in there. Does Boston want to play Washington in the wild card round? Like that would be, you don't want to play anybody, to be clear, but
Yeah.
So
I'm
the East is awesome.
And Tony and Chris, like I'm originally from the DC, Baltimore area. I'm a Baltimore guy, and every time the Bruins play the Capitals in DC, it's always
You're a DMC guy, right?
Yeah, we'll call that DMB. Yeah, like we're like
DMB.
Historically, Boston.
Is that the Dave Matthews Band? What's DMB?
DMV.
It's DMV. The V, Victor.
Yeah, DMV.
Yeah,
Maryland, DC, Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like every time they play on the road, I think like they have won maybe one out of, don't quote me specifically, then maybe one out of their last like 8 games in DC. So I already count those as 2 losses. Honestly, there's just something in the air whenever they cross the border, crossing Maryland into DC. I'm not sure, but in order for the Bruins to even have a chance, Pastrnak can't be the only person that scores, man. I mean, he can't dominate in assists, goals, everything. Like, we're going to have to get more out of the second and third line. But, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But I want to ask you guys this quick question before we talk about teams not meeting expectations and we'll wrap up. High level, who's your winner in the East, Western Conference, and who wins it all together? Tony and Chris.
Go first, Tony. Go ahead. Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
I'm still going to stick with Boston. And I'm going to say Colorado comes on, gets healthy, and we have a phenomenal series. And I think Colorado, I've seen just some signs that they can play at that higher level again. They just need to be healthy, and hopefully they're healthy by the time the playoffs start. And I like them. I would like to see a Boston like Edmonton series, though. I think that would be fun with Connor McDavid and Draisaitl. And McDavid just has had another couple of ridiculous goals tonight. One, he went off of the goalie's helmet. He just popped it up over, just intentionally, right? Like off the goalie's helmet. And
I got to watch this. I didn't see that.
Oh, it's just ridiculous. You could see it was intentional because he popped it up there and put it into the net. But yeah, that's what I would like to see. I want to see just exciting hockey, and then, the grittiness of the East against the wide open hockey of the West. And I think that could be a lot of fun.
Okay.
I think the Rangers were so close last year, and you tell me them adding Tarasenko and/or possibly Patrick Kane. I mean, I know they ditched Ryan Reeves. I don't know how they can ever rebound from that. But
that's a bummer.
I think the Rangers definitely have the pieces in place right now. Last year was kind of a surprise for what they did. So I think the Rangers can emerge from the East. I mean, Shesterkin is as good as Ullmark and any other goalie that's on the East or the West. And the West, is wide open right now as far as what might happen. I still think Vegas can emerge from the West. Obviously, there's some contingency plans right here. We're on goalie number 3 right now. Aiden Hill, our backup, supposedly just had a little bump. He was just going to miss a game, not travel on Tuesday. Well, he's out again tonight. So now we have
a message from the fam. We got a message from the family tonight.
I'll let you say that, but go ahead.
No, we got a message that he'll be back according to someone who knows his dad, and he should be back on Saturday. I'm going to go with that one because he was on the separate sheet of ice today, and he was skating around.
He was on rink 2. Yep, he was on rink 2. And so I do think Vegas. And now listen, I think Vegas is going Tampa and Chicago style. I still say, me and Tony argued about this. I still say we got Mark Stone coming back by late first round, early second round. Tony, stop trusting the Vegas Golden Knights. Just stop it. We talked about this. I corrected you once. I'm going to correct you again. Don't trust what the GM and the coach says. Stop it right now. They are cooking the books, finding a way to go $10 million over salary cap.
Take a shot.
Of what? For why?
Every time you say stop it, no. He's taking it.
I'll just drink. But no, so I do think Vegas can emerge from the West as long as Logan Thompson, our starter, comes back. Our all-star Pacific starting goalie comes back, and Mark Stone gets into the fold. And we're going to add something, whether it's Patrick Kane, whether it's not Timo Meier, whether it's Max Domi. We're going to add a big piece. All of a sudden, you got a pretty spectacular top 9 and top 12 if we can add another piece, and if Mark Stone does come back in the playoffs.
Okay. There was an adorable little story about the Dallas Stars with this 9-year-old kid that, I don't know if you heard about it, but he signed a 2-day contract and he got to do the national anthem with them. He got to go but they lost the game. And I'm just like, damn, against your Chicago Blackhawks 4-3. And I'm just like,
and they were up 3-0 in that game too. Oh man.
Yeah, man. Very, very, very good game. Listen, I'm going to say I'm rooting for you guys because if the Bruins don't do it, I'm not just saying it because you're on the show, because I think Bruce Cassidy got done dirty. I'm just going to say that. I think Bruce Cassidy, compared to all the other coaches, I think was a very solid coach with what we had. We had Char for the longest time. I don't know why we kept that man as long as we did. I want to say the Bruins are going to do it, but they have let me down so many years, and every team that's won the President's Cup has been very disappointing. You think about the Capitals, what, in 2012, 2013, I think, no, 2011, 2012, they won the President's Cup, and they just completely fell apart. We'll see. But a sleeper that I have, man, I really like Dallas. I did a little bit of study on them. If it's not
a
Vegas,
sleeper. That's a good pick. It's not a sleeper. That's a good pick.
I'm just saying, hey, I'm trying to do my study. I'm trying to be like you guys. I'm trying to be versatile in my sports.
You don't want to be like
we
us.
haven't even planned our show yet tomorrow.
Yeah, we
haven't even planned our show tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Nice, man.
The thing that we do like about Cassidy, though, I will say one thing is that he's been very transparent, at least as far as we know, with the media, and he's honest. And I think the thing that I really appreciate the most, I think Chris does too, is the fact that he'll go through plays and different situations and explain it like in layman's terms and not try to be too technical. And he'll explain things and how plays unfolded and things like that. So I definitely appreciate him and everything he does and takes his time with the media. He really does.
He's awesome with the media. He really is. He really is.
And right now it's tied 4-4 Bruins and Kraken. Tied 4-4.
I think the Grand Slam would crush the over tonight, Tony.
It went over?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
way over.
We'll
way
see
over.
What happens. So before we wrap up, I want to keep this under 45 minutes. Let me just real quick, high level, 30, 45 seconds each. A team that you had high expectations that are not meeting expectations, and what should they do in the draft? Tony, Chris, talk to me.
Immediate reaction would be the Flames, I would say, and all of the Flames seem to be. So you look at what happened with the Flames, right? They lose Johnny Gaudreau and they lose Matt Tkachuk. But coming back, all of a sudden we have Huberdeau and we have Nazem Kadri, and they're taking a while to get there. They might be turning the corner right now, but that's a team that immediately comes to mind that I thought could have done a little bit better. On the East, I'll say the Caps right now, same thing. And what the Caps need to get there, they're in that crossroads right now. Do they go young? Do they sell? Like, what do they do? And the Flames, same thing. They're trying to figure out what they got right now. And will they trade Huberdeau or something like that and not sign an extension? Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and me, due to injuries, I'd have to say Colorado definitely has not lived up to its.
Uh,
That's the only reason I didn't say him, because of injuries. That's the only reason I didn't say him.
Due to injuries. But I'm going to go with this action like you. And I really, and those teams are the Detroit Red Wings, who are on a heater currently. I really like what they're doing. And then I want to see Tage Thompson on the big stage. He just again tonight netted his fourth hat trick of the season. 4 hat tricks for him. He's just phenomenal. He's filthy, dirty good. So I'd like to see those two teams in the playoffs. I think it would make it a lot of fun, even if they exit in the first round.
Okay. All right. Nice. I mean, we'll see. We'll kind of just see what happens, folks. But gentlemen, Tony, Chris, I appreciate you guys coming on. I definitely got to bring you guys back on, talk a little more hockey. Look, hockey, I think, is a very underrated, underappreciated sport that a lot of people don't talk about. And I just want to give more love to it. We just celebrated our 1-year anniversary a couple of days ago.
Congrats.
And we didn't give a lot of love. Thank you. So we didn't give a lot of love to hockey. So we definitely want to bring you guys back on as the playoffs come. So I hope you guys take the invitation. Definitely want to do that. And hopefully I can get my other guys coming on. One of them is a Red Wings fan. One of them is a diehard Red Wings fan. Another one is a Rangers fan.
I'll go at night so I can drink.
Rangers fan. Okay. Rangers fan.
Rangers.
Hey, just quickly, you could find us, of course, at Locked On VGK on Twitter. And then, of course, on our YouTube channel. That's Locked On Golden Knights. And we need subscribers. So hit it.
Sounds good, no doubt. You took the wind out of my sail there. So
I always
does that. He does that.
I'm good at doing that.
I will make sure that this content is posted on my Twitter page. I will make
Thank
sure
you,
you
man.
guys are copied on that.
Nice.
I will make sure you guys are nominated because you guys are some cool cats. I was really excited to bring you guys on. I'm telling you, man, T-Mobile Arena, man, it is alive. I'm telling you. When anyone that's listening, you ever go to Vegas, you got to go to a Vegas Knights hockey match.
Oh,
it's the best entertainment day game entertainment production crew in all of sports. It really is.
Hit up Tony for guest list, for clubs. Thank you, man. I caught a break.
Yeah, you know all the fire exits. Yeah, I know.
I mean, listen, like the love that they showed for the Kraken when those two played each other with the opening, which is absolutely great. I mean, they know how to like hockey is a show. Like it's I think it's more entertaining than NBA. And I'm not just saying that because I literally think it's really enthralling, really entertaining. So again, Chris, Tony, VGK all the way, except when they're playing my Bruins. Gotta
I'm
show
okay
you
with
guys
that.
love. Hey,
All good.
guys, so to all of our listeners and to all of our fans, thank you for all the support. Again, Tony and Chris, thank you guys for coming on for the special episode of That Tactics in Sports, NHL Freedom. Again, take care, show love, hail Von Miller.